Talking with Dr. Prater Powell of Manchester City Schools, and of course the reason why we want to talk with you, Dr. Powell, is about the situation that happened in Newtown has brought a lot of thought about safety in schools and what local school systems do to keep the children safe, the teachers safe. Tell me a little bit about Manchester City Schools and the things that you all do to help keep our children and employees there safe.
Okay, I appreciate it. Of course, first of all, let me say that the tragedy that took place in Newtown, we hope that never happen again. Our thoughts and prayers are with those families and with that school system. But we feel that we have in place in the Manchester City school system a protocol that not only mitigates some of these things happening, but also a response process. We have what we call a crisis intervention plan, which has been in existence for several years. That plan is updated annually by our schools. There's one for the school, each individual school. There's also one for the school system. And we review that annually. We go over it with our staff and so forth. We know that children cannot learn and that teachers cannot teach in a school or a setting that's not safe, or an environment that's not safe. So we feel like, and we have tried for many, many years to set a culture in the Manchester City schools that we have always tried to install and tell in our teachers and our staff that we want them to be safe. That we want our school community to be a safe place, because we do realize, and I've made this statement several times, probably in some situations a school setting may be the safest place that a child is in any 24-hour period of time. Unfortunately, we're aware of that. So we have worked very hard over the years to try to keep our schools safe, to keep our environment safe. Is it foolproof? No. We know that.
I don't think anything is.
I don't think so either. And again, not knowing all the circumstances of the Newtown situation, from what I understand, that school was about as secure as you could physically get one, but don't know all the details right now. But since this situation transpired, we have taken a little bit closer look at our procedure, our protocol on lockdown. Again, there's different philosophies about that, but we have had one of those in place for several years. And again, every situation is going to determine what you do after everything happens, or how you can respond to it.
Teachers are trained in this and what to do, and your office staff as well is trained.
The office staff, the teachers are trained. We've had several in-services on it. In fact, the business as of Wednesday, we had Manchester Police Chief Mark Yother and particularly Assistant Chief Adam Floyd came to one of our staff development activities on Wednesday to our teacher training, and did go over again our protocol, our procedures for lockdown, which is the one that everybody's concerned with right now. Went over those procedures and what best practices are. We'll be looking at that more in depth as time goes along. But we have had conversations with the police department here. We have a meeting scheduled with the Manchester Police Department, with the Coffee County Sheriff's Department, with Coffee County Schools, with Manchester City Schools, with emergency management agencies here in Coffee County. I think within the next couple of weeks for all of us to get together and sit down as a group and say, okay, what are the best practices? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Trying to learn from each other.
Trying to learn from each other and make sure that we do what we feel like is best at this point in time. But there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee of anything. Exactly. Thank you. We have also scheduled our coordinated school health staff to go into our classrooms as part of their procedures, talk with students about school safety, not only about something that would happen to this extent, but anything involving in the schools. And I think one thing that we try to look at and is a situation where our teachers, our school staff, our students, if they see strangers in the building, if they see individuals who they're not accustomed to seeing, they need to report those folks to the administration or some teacher or whatever the case may be, and find out, what are you doing here? Why are you in our building? That type thing. So I think part of that is education. Which
and I think kids will do that.
We're working on that. We have scheduled, again, with the Manchester Police Department, probably in the month of February, an in-depth training session with them for our teachers. And again, it's going to primarily focus on lockdown procedures, because again, that's that's the front of it.
Sure.
That's what's up right now. But we need to keep in mind that our crisis prevention plan, crisis response plan, not only involves just lockdown, that's just one small segment of it, but it involves many, many things that could happen in a school setting. So, we've had training in it. If we do what we're supposed to do, we should be okay. But again, you don't ever know what's going to happen. We'll have discussions almost daily, I do, with my staff on safety issues.
Okay.
Mr. Joey Vaughn, who is our Director of Curriculum Instruction, is in charge of our safety plans, and he makes sure those are kept up to date. The principals will talk with their staff about it. We've got flip charts that each teacher has in their classroom. What happens if this happens? If this happens, how do we respond? How to respond to this? So hopefully, these things, we got them in place. We're going to reevaluate them all. Anything like this won't causes you to get in and reevaluate your plans and whatever you may have. Yes.
Things have changed. The world has changed. I mean, we've all come, from times where there would be a rifle in somebody's car and nobody paid any mind because so-and-so may be going hunting after school. You don't see that anymore. People, when we grew up, we had pocket knives in our pockets, when we went to school. Nobody paid any mind to that, but now you don't do that.
That's true.
And I think now, this is even bringing more awareness to what we need to do to protect the children in that school, because we don't want a situation like that ever to happen again, no matter where it's at. But we've learned from others how we can improve, and I think you guys have done that. You feel good about your security. You're going, okay, we've done this, but what else can we do?
Yes.
And it's never too late to learn something else and go, okay, what else can we do here to make things better? Because there was a mistake made at some school in whatever state. Not saying Newtown had any mistakes. I'm just saying that things happen, and how can you improve? And I love the fact that you guys are not stopping. You're continuing to try to learn more.
In fact, Mr. Vaughn and I are going to Nashville in about 2 weeks to a state Department of Education meeting, a Safety School Summit.
Excellent.
That they're going to bring some experts in, so to speak, and we're going to talk about school safety. Again, it will not necessarily focus just on intruders, but it may focus on many, many aspects of school safety. So it's a continuous process. Probably we go through very few staff meetings that we don't say something about a school safety issue that may be coming up. Not just because this happened. Of course, it'll be a little bit more intense now because this is on the front.
Broad awareness. Yeah,
we're more aware of it. But there's probably not a staff meeting that we go through on a monthly or tri-monthly basis that something about school safety is not mentioned, or response plan, how to respond to this, what happens if this happens. And we've probably got probably 25 or 30 different scenarios of what happens if this happens, what if this happens, what if we have, for instance, what if we've got fire drills.
Oh yeah.
We have fire drills. We have regular lockdown drills all the time. We have regular fire drills all the time. We have response issues that we try to mitigate prior to anything happening. So, it's not anything going to be new to the students in terms of lockdown, in terms of fire drills. And again, I know there's different philosophies about different things, and do you evacuate? When do you evacuate your building? We've talked about all that, and we'll continue to talk about those things. If you recall, there was a shooting, I believe it was in Texas or Arkansas, where the students evacuated the building, and there were snipers out in the wooded areas that picked them off as they came through.
Wow.
So you have to make those decisions, and they're split-second decisions.
Oh yeah.
We want to try to work with our teachers and our staff and our students, to train them. Hopefully this will never happen, But if it does,
Exactly.
this is our best practice. Will it be completely eliminate anything? Probably not, but it's the best practice that we're aware of right now, and that's what we want to try to do. Make our schools safe, make our parents feel like when they drop those students off in the morning that they're going to be safe all day long. I mean, I'm sure that no one had any earthly idea, the
No way.
possibility when this situation, Newtown happened or Columbine happened
Exactly.
or anywhere else, that was going to be an event that took place that day in that particular school setting. We don't want that. We're going to try our best to mitigate it, but we're also going to try our best to work with it if and when it may happen.
Dr. Prater Powell, our guest today, and Dr. Powell, thank you so much for joining us, and
Thank you.
we appreciate the information you've been able to give us today about your school
Well,
system.
we can't tell you everything because we do have some security issues.
Yes.
with the board, but, you know, I think most everyone knows that we try to have safe schools, and I think everyone does. It's not just Manchester City, you know. We're only one of many, many school systems in this state, and I think they're all aware of the safety issues within their buildings and within their school setting.
Thank you, Prater.
Thank you, Lucky. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good.
Stop.